Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Tero, the product director at ATR Soft, and in today's webinar, we are thrilled to bring you a fascinating exploration of some of the lesser-known features of custom tools. Our aim is to provide you with valuable insights that can enhance your experience with our software. To ensure a seamless experience, we have the pleasure of having Francois Simon with us today, who will be available to address any questions you may have. Feel free to utilize the chat box located in the GoToWebinar panel to share your queries or thoughts. Furthermore, I'd like to assure you that we have allocated time after the session to accommodate additional questions. This way, you can fully immerse yourself in the presentation and maximize your understanding of the subject matter. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you find today's webinar both informative and enjoyable. Before we dive into the webinar content, I would like to give you an idea of the duration. We anticipate that this webinar will last approximately 40 minutes. Following the session, a recording will be shared with all registered participants and made available on the CustomTools.info website as usual. Now let's discuss what we mean by hidden features. While I won't be unveiling all of them today, I will focus on tools that are commonly used but possess essential features that may not be well known to the public. It's worth noting that custom tools also includes features that are less known and infrequently used, but that's beyond the scope of today's webinar. A feature can be considered hidden due to its placement within the user interface. It might not have a dedicated button, but instead you can access it by right-clicking or utilizing drag and drop functionality. This can occur when there is limited space in the UI to accommodate additional controls. Certain options may require more advanced knowledge, such as leveraging the Windows registry, while others are straightforward to use. Whether you are a designer or a CAD administrator, I'm confident that there will be something new for you to discover and learn about custom tools. Let's now proceed with exploring these hidden features and uncovering the potential they hold. So, shall we begin? In our product, we have a user interface control that plays a significant role in various aspects. The list view. This control is extensively utilized to present data in a list format, often with a hierarchical structure and multiple columns. Not only is it commonly employed within options, but it also holds a key role in numerous other areas. For instance, it's instrumental in displaying search results or facilitating the exploitation of bill of materials. The versatility and widespread use of the list view make it an essential component of our product's interface. We will explore its functionalities and delve into how it can enhance your experience and productivity. The functionalities of the list view that I will be demonstrating today are applicable across various areas of our product. By showcasing these features in contexts where they can offer the most benefits, you will gain a comprehensive understanding of their potential. It's important to note that all list view settings are stored locally in your Windows registry. This means that they are not shared or distributed among the design team. Each user has the flexibility to customize their list view settings according to their preferences and requirements. So let's go through some of the beneficial list view settings that we have, and let's start by accessing the options where we quite intensively use list view to present data. One nice feature in list view across the product is that when we utilize multiple columns, by default we only show the most relevant ones, but you can access all the other information by right mouse clicking the header area of the list view. So for instance, if you would like to know which of the custom properties are linked to external data source, by just checking them here in the wizard, you would need to open them one by one and clicking a couple of times the next button, where you go to the database options and see that, okay, for instance, this item desk 1 is linked to the database column desk 1. But to get a quick overview, you can just right click here and select the database search group and database column. You can always double click the column divider to make it content fit the width of the column. As here I can double click and this fits there, and also these column widths are remembered across the sessions. Here we can see that these four properties are linked to external data source. What is also sometimes useful that if you need to create some kind of a report or documentation of the content of the list view, you can always multi-select these by standard Windows functionality. So I selected first row and last, then I click the last row by holding Ctrl and Shift keys simultaneously. Then I can just hit Ctrl C to copy, and I can open Excel, open a new worksheet and paste it there. So now I have all the list content, all the rows I selected here for further processing or whatever you need to do with that. And that applies to all the list views we have. You may also be aware that order of the rows in this list defines the order of the properties they appear in the properties pane. So if you ever need to change that order, let's say that, for instance, the weight is something that you are not filling in, but it's just for the informative purposes, you might want to have it in the last in the list, so you can just drag and drop it to different place. You can also drag these to the different groups in here. So that is the common way of rearranging items in the list. Also, if you have a lot of content in the list and you need to delete them, for instance, here I have the default combinations that comes with the demo profile. And if there's something that I'm not interested in, let's say that I'm not using the bar type of properties at all, I can hold the Control key down and click the items. And when all those four combinations are selected, if I click the delete, I can remove all four selected items at once. If we look at the export profiles, for instance, many of you maybe at least hopefully be aware of the capability to export bill of material to Excel file. We have here common settings that are shared across the design team. So this defines the columns that appear in the Excel, as well the order of them. If we export this to Excel, we can see that now here is the same columns that were in the settings. But let's say that in my preferences, I would like to see this column like all the content. For me, the meaningful things are description and material. I'm not that interested in who is the designer or who is what is the design date. So I will just hide those columns. Then I can still make a little bit space in here to see everything. So if I now export this to Excel, we can still see that all the columns were exported based on the options, and the order of the columns are as defined per settings. So everyone in the design team can still produce the standard Excel file, but in case you want to verify the data, you can always rearrange the columns or hide irrelevant ones without affecting the output or any other user's settings. So if I then next time access the same Excel report, we can see that all the settings remains. Okay, that's about the list view. When files are stored outside the PDM professional vault, their metadata, including the save location, is stored in the CustomTools database. As you save files, they are automatically added to the CustomTools database in the background. This ensures that the database stays up to date and reflects the current file structure. When implementing CustomTools or when you need to add files that were created without CustomTools to the database, you can utilize the import feature. This feature allows you to efficiently add existing files to the database, ensuring that all relevant information is captured. To maintain consistent search results and avoid adding unnecessary files to the database, it is highly recommended to define a specific folders where you store your production files. This helps streamline the search process and ensures that only relevant files are included in search results. In addition, CustomTools offers the ability to export the content of search results to Excel for further processing. This can be a valuable feature when you need to analyze or manipulate the data in a more flexible and customizable format. Furthermore, CustomTools provides a range of options to fine-tune the user experience when searching for files. You can customize and configure various search parameters to suit your specific needs, enhancing the efficiency and effectiveness of your file searches. Let's now explore these features in more detail and discover how they can optimize your workflow and improve your overall user experience. So hopefully you are familiar with the search function that is always available here on the right side panel in the SolidWorks task pane. And as mentioned already, if you happen to use PDM Professional Vault, then we are not indexing the file locations, but let PDM to take care of that. So here we can search for using the Google type pre-search. So it's searching then from all the properties and from the file name. And we have autocomplete feature here as well, so it will remember the previously used search conditions. Here, for instance, we can see that there is a path containing folder 2015, and by clicking the rows, we notice that the file is not either accessible or it's not located there anymore because all these buttons are grayed out and I can't see the preview. I'm aware of that. I used to have my conveyor in that location in the past, but I have removed it in my Explorer view, so that's why the database is not anymore up to date. But no worries, I can easily clean up these in the search result. I can only search by the path. So find all the files that contains the folder 2015, and by executing the search, I will find all the files from here, and I could just simply select all of them in the search results and delete them. So that is one way to clean up your database in the search results as well. What is not that well known in here, you can also utilize this kind of a design library. So you can search for components to be added to your design in SolidWorks by utilizing the drag and drop feature. So here I have a conveyor in the background, and we could search for a cartoon box. There is a one cartoon box, and surprisingly it has already good dimensions to fit my conveyor, so I can just drag and drop from here and place it in my assembly. If this part would have multiple configurations, CustomTools would prompt which configuration to insert. So this is really handy, and of course you can then place it somewhere where you want and mate it afterwards. Here we can also see that we don't have that many columns here to show the properties. You may wonder like how I can affect the columns displayed here. Well, the answer is rather simple. You go to options, and here if we again utilize the list view feature to select enable in search option, we can see that only the description, and from the drawing side the created by is enabled in the search. We can also add as many parameters or controls or properties there as we want. For instance, we can add unit. So we need to select enable property in search in order to have it as a search condition available and also to display it in the search results. We can add material here and some other parameters. For instance, we could add description 2 here as well. Oops, here, and let's add, for instance, the project information like that. Now we have here all the fields that we defined there, and if we search, for instance, all the parts having unit each, we have now more columns available in here, and we notice that there is in total 78 files having unit each here. In CustomTools common toolbar, we have also the list button where you can export the whole content of the list to CSV file or TXT file, or we can just open it straight as a CSV in Excel. So clicking that, I don't need to select any of the rows, but I will have the content here for further processing. Once again, you can quickly search various files from your CustomTools database and just have a report in Excel for further processing. We have here the title row, so we should have here 79 rows correct. We can close this without saving. Then how to avoid adding files to the database that are not meant to be there. If we just create a new part in SolidWorks, and we can just quickly model something geometry there. Like that. Let's say that this is something that I'm just like modeling for my own purposes or prototyping something or whatsoever. We can access to properties, and I don't want to pick any drawing number here, but like I just like type here like home design, and then here for instance like a test part, and then we just click the save, and CustomTools will show the last used folder, as in general project there is not save folder design, so I will store this to my desktop. Now you may realize already that what is the problem. I clear the search condition, so if I just like search here my own part, I notice that as I'm working on the same computer, I can see this here, but not anyone else in my design team could access this because this is stored in my local C drive, and probably not everyone is happy that there is a test part in our production database. I could go here and delete the file from the database like that, and then we won't find it anymore. But as CustomTools always saves the files on the background, if I click the save button and we go to here, it appears there again. Let's remove it from here, and then we go to options, and this is a rather new feature in CustomTools. There is a database option, so these are shared among all the profiles and among all the users. I can define the indexed folders, so from which locations CustomTools should add files to the database. We can either include or exclude the certain folders, including or excluding the subfolders. In this case, for simplicity, just exclude my desktop like that. Go there, and we can see in the search result, do I have it there still? Yes, I had it there, like delete the file, yes, like that. And now if we save it and search it, we are not finding it anymore because it's automatically excluded. Okay, let's move on. Tooltips in properties may not be considered a hidden feature, but their full potential may not be immediately apparent. These tooltips can provide valuable guidance on how to fill properties correctly and where they have an impact. This is especially important when integrating with other systems, as there may be specific rules to follow. By adding short rule of thumb tips as tooltips, users can quickly reference them without needing to consult separate documentation. Another feature that often goes unnoticed is autocomplete. While seemingly ordinary, it can be a significant time saver. By automatically suggesting values and completing the input, unnecessary typing is avoided and consistency in property values is maintained. Let's take user initials as an example to demonstrate the usefulness of filling properties automatically. For more experienced users, I will showcase the history tracking of properties as an example of something special. This feature has various applications and will present one specific example to highlight its capabilities. Lastly, we will explore the best approach to making copies of existing files in SolidWorks using custom tools, along with relevant options related to this procedure. Additionally, I will provide a simple demonstration on how to customize the SolidWorks user interface to conveniently access frequently used commands. By the end of this session, you will have a comprehensive understanding of these features and be equipped with valuable tools to optimize your workflow and enhance your overall experience. So let's dive in and explore these features together. So let's again start by creating a new part, and if I just access the properties in here, we can see how tooltips appears in the user interface. So if I just move my mouse cursor over a control and hold it there, I can see the hint or tip like how specific control is used. So this is a great place to store useful information and how to do that. We can see that the unit is not holding any tooltip. So let's go to the options. And here we can again utilize the list view functionality to have a tooltip column available. So here we can see all the tooltips that are typed into the controls. And if we want to now provide one for the unit, we just double click to edit the property and write here, for instance, that this is the base unit of measure, which is used to keep stock balance in ERP, for instance, something like that, what you feel that is good to fill in. And we can accept that by clicking the OK. Let's add also here some geometry, some simple geometry like for further demo. So we can use the S key to have a part shortcut menu, and we can just create a plate with some holes there at each end. We can also add some dimensions there. Let's make this, for instance, 100 millimeter, and then we can dimension this one to 20, and this can be 50 millimeter, and at the end we can make these equal size. So now we are good with the geometry, and let's just extrude it to have some material there like that. Now we could also show how to customize that shortcut menu. So if you go to customize there, shortcut bars, and we have here the part shortcut bar, so we can just, for instance, add custom tools toolbar menu here. Of course, we could add individual commands there as well, but just for simplicity, I will add the whole custom tools menu there. So now we can access also with S key here properties. We can fill in the correct project that defines, for instance, the saving location of my part and give some default values there. And then we type in the description like a plate. We can see from here that the drawn by is not filled properly. We accept this one. So CustomTools will automatically save it to the correct location without prompt for save as dialog. And we can also create already drawing from this part, as we can use it in a further step in our demo. We use the A4 portrait drawing, and then we can just add there, for instance, top view and side view, which we are happy, and let's just adjust the scale so that it looks a bit better, although it's not relevant in this case, but let's have it like that. Then we notice that we also made a typing mistake in here. It doesn't say plate, and now it has some other consequences as well that we are going to fix. If I would like to save my drawing, I can click save. SolidWorks prompts me to save all the files, and next it will prompt me where to save. And now we are somewhere in the last used folder, which is obviously not the one I saved my part. So I'm wondering like where I actually can even find that path. Let's cancel. The better option is to go into options. Here in the file operations, save drawings automatically. Now when I hit the save button, like that, my drawing will get saved into the correct location defined by CustomTools settings, and I don't need to worry about where I should save it, and furthermore, it won't get saved into the incorrect location. So we have now few problems identified. Drawn by is empty and description is incorrect. So if we go back to our part, we can use the S key to go to the options. We can check the designer. Here, there we have get user initials, but I'm not getting them. So let's go to check my basic information in my user options. So my initials are empty. So if I add them here, I should be good with that. So if we now go to the custom properties, I can see that drawn by is automatically filled. And if we go to fix this one, I don't have even plate there, and CustomTools now suggests me this incorrectly typed value. So how to get rid of this for good? I can copy this to clipboard, and then we can go to the registry, and here in the current user software ATR soft CustomTools autocomplete custom properties. Let's refresh this view. I have here all the controls, but I'm not seeing here the incorrect value anywhere. So these are just control IDs, so it's hard to determine which applies to which control. So I can just use the find option and see that, okay, it's this control. Double clicking, and I have here the incorrectly typed value. I can just remove it and click OK. If we then go back to the properties, I can remove this, and we can see that now there is not anymore that incorrect value, but I don't have plate either. Here is, and this is quite a nice tip, here is also dictionary attached here, where I have a lot of words, but to access them in autocomplete, I can go to the contents. I can right mouse click the column, and I can copy the English words from here. Then I can go back to the registry, to the same control, and I can Control V to paste all these values here and hit OK. Then if we go back to the properties and go here, now I have plate in addition to a lot of other values as well. So now I can use these standardized descriptions also from the autocomplete. And let's approve this by clicking the OK. Next, I will still demonstrate you the track history option. So we need to go to options, and I will add one property that we can track history. So let's add that, for instance, to item. We add engineering sales order and number here. Then we need to go to additional options, where we check the track history option like that. And this is everything you need to do. Let's say that I need to add here chamfer, for instance, or fillet. Let's add fillet there. So we can add 1 millimeter fillet, and there is tangent propagation on. So let's say that I get like a request to modify this part. We add here the fillet, and then we can go to properties. I should of course revise this as well, but for simplicity we add just the EC number. I have change order 1203, for instance. We click OK, we save, and I don't have in my drawing configured those fields anywhere, so we can use CustomTools data command. I can have it in here. I mouse click here, I bring from the model, and it was in the item group ECO number, and hit the enter, so we have it in here. If we want to make another change, it would be nice to have the history of all the engineering change orders that have applied to my design. So we should have here a list of that many rows that we want to keep the history, and of course that should be done to the sheet format. But now for the demonstration purposes, I will just add it here. So here I want to edit the text, and you need to know that the history is kept by CustomTools by adding the HST underscore the number of the items, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So by adding that, it should be empty in here. Now we can also verify that actually description is fixed, and drawn by is also fixed. So going back to the my design, let's say that I got an order to make a slot in here middle. So let's just quickly add that slot here, and we just extrude that through like that, and then we go to properties, and we would revise, but this time we just add the ECO number, which could be like for instance 12.11, and we save the part. And now in the drawing side, we see that this is the latest what we've been doing, and this was the previous one that were applied to there. So that is how the keeping the history works. And as a last thing in today's webinar to demonstrate like how to make copies efficiently, we can actually close this drawing. So if I need to create a new part and I find out that like this is something that would be cool to use as a basis, how to make a copy. I go to properties, then I will pick the next available number suggested by CustomTools, and I can just click OK. CustomTools discovers that the file name has been changed, so I need to take some actions. Without going into further details, there are like two different options here at the top, save as and save as copy. If I'm already having my new main assembly where I'm going to use my part open, I should use the save as, because then SolidWorks will update the file references. But if I just want to make a new independent part, the best option is to make save as copy, so that I won't accidentally touch any file references of possible existing currently open assemblies. So I click a save as copy, and then what? I still have the original file open here, and I think I had drawing created from this part, but CustomTools didn't suggest me to copy that. So what was wrong? We need to go to options, and once again this is user specific option, so everyone in the design team can have their own options based on the preferences. I need to click to suggest copying of reference drawings when the model is saved, and then when performing save as copy, I had option to never open. Another two options are always or prompt. So let's use the prompt option and hit OK. Now that I have still the original file open, and by the way, let's check quickly. Still I remember there was that we just created. Let's open that one. If we go to properties, we see that I have already ECO number here, although this is supposed to be a new design, so not good. What we can do, we can go to options, model properties, our new property. We click to edit, and we go to additional options where we check clear on save as. Now we need to make sure that we have the original file open that has the drawing. We go to the properties, and similarly we select the next available number. We hit OK. We click the save as copy. CustomTools should recognize that there is one drawing made of this part. And if I would like to, I could copy this list, as you remember, for further reference. If I want to check those afterwards, I could open a new drawing in SolidWorks, and CustomTools also remembers these settings per user. But in this case, I just want to copy this, and I click OK. Now CustomTools prompts me, do I want to open the saved part per options we just defined? I click yes. And now we should have number 3 open. And if we go to properties, our ECO list should be empty as well. Correct. So, key takeaways from these webinars. It's worth investing a little bit time in properly configuring your settings. Although it may seem like a tedious task, it's far more frustrating to continually encounter the same challenges over and over again. SolidWorks provides various ways to create shortcuts, and CustomTools supports them all. So you just saw that shortcut bar for the part, but there is really many other ways to customize SolidWorks, for instance, the mouse gestures and so on. Arrange the most frequently used functions for quick access and consider removing commands that are rarely utilized. Certain preferences are specific to individual users. If you have discovered settings and working habits that enhance your efficiency, consider sharing them with your colleagues. Take advantage of tooltips and properties to document how properties should be used, ensuring that the documentation is easily accessible when needed. Mistakes happen to everyone. If you have files stored in the database that shouldn't be there, or if CustomTools suggest misspelled words, it's essential to allocate time to clean up your environment. As you use our product on a daily basis, we cannot possibly be aware of how all of your thousands of customers utilize it. If you come across tasks that are cumbersome or tedious to complete, chances are you are not fully maximizing the potential of CustomTools, or perhaps we haven't considered those aspects yet. However, I strongly encourage you to reach out to us, both to explore possible solutions and to provide valuable feedback. Your input and feedback is invaluable to us, and we are always eager to assist you in optimizing your experience with CustomTools. That concludes today's presentation. I hope that the content exceeded your expectations and that you have gained valuable insights into the capabilities of CustomTools. Once again, I express my gratitude for your participation and contributions. We have a lot of questions this time, and in case you came like 1 hour too early to wait on the line, I still apologize for that, and we need to be more careful with the time zones in the future. Thank you, and have a fantastic day. And thank you, Francois, joining me as a host.
Thank you, Tero. Yep. Bye, everyone.
We are in the life-saving business. We kill your routines before they kill you.